Hello, and welcome back to another episode. A fairly boring episode. No, who am I kidding? An amazing episode! An episode that's just so exciting, following one of the best weekends I've ever had in my life. See, this weekend just gone was the weekend following my birthday on Tuesday, the 11th of September. And over the weekend, I was given, as a birthday present, one of the best things ever! Spider-Man on PlayStation 4. Except I don't have a PlayStation 4 to play it on, do I? Do I? I do now! I was given a PlayStation 4 with Spider-Man for my birthday over the weekend. And I could not be more excited. I simply could not be more excited to play this game today. Now, I have, of course, been playing Spider-Man over the weekend. I'm 66% into the game. At level 33, so I'm doing quite well. Let's start a new game, shall we? And let's see what this is like. Let's go with amazing. I'm going to have to invert the up and down, because that's just how I play, I'm afraid. I'm one of those people. And continue. Spider-Man on PlayStation 4. Now, I've been curious about this game ever since it was announced in those amazing E3 play demos. And, of course, I've been dreaming, fingers crossed, everything crossed, sphincter crossed, for a Spider-Man experience that would live up to the legendary Spider-Man 2. In my case, on GameCube, but also I've got the Xbox version, because I just love that game so much. And since then, games haven't quite lived up to that feeling, the swinging and the open-world gameplay. Of course, we have had games like Web of Shadows and Shattered Dimensions trying to deliver some of that stuff, but it just never quite reached the heights of Spider-Man 2. And I had a good feeling about Spider-Man, or Marvel's Spider-Man, on PlayStation 4, and I'm so happy to say that that good feeling was well placed. This game is a beautiful, beautiful achievement. It's a wonderful representation of Peter Parker and the Spider-Man character. Here we are going through Peter's flat at the beginning of the game. It's a gorgeous rendition of New York, and it's wonderfully surprising. It builds on the best of, for example, Batman Arkham City, and the approach to world building and storytelling as developed, for example, by Rockstar. And it just takes it all and just flies with it, swings with it, swings with it. Fisk. I love that Parker's living in like a Back to the Future kind of Doc Brown flat, you know, that even the toaster's got technology. I love that the web shooters are like Fitbits, but with webs on the bottom. Very, you know, very believable for what modern Spider-Man would be. I love that his costume is the classic costume to begin with. I love that he's also struggling to pay his bills. But anyway, bills can wait. Oh, it's just magnificent. And we're not even playing the game yet. Positively orgasmic. Now, the swinging in this game takes a little bit of getting used to compared to what I'm accustomed to on Spider-Man 2. They have built on the pendulum effect, the physics of swinging that was present in Spider-Man 2, and which other Spider-Man games did attempt to use as well. But now, with the web zip, you use the two L1 and R1. You use these buttons to choose the point at which you want to zip to. So these little dots appear on screen. Let's see, I want to zip there, I can zip there, or I can zip there.
Did you take him down yet? No. We're at this tower.
Or I can zip there.
Waiting on the warrant. Mind if I join in on the fun? You know how his lawyers are. This one needs to go by the book. Come on, Yuri. I've been waiting 8 years for this. You really want to help? Head to Times Square. Sounds like his guys are trying to keep my backup from reaching the scene. You got it. Almost there.
So we kept, you know, that's the yellow story point over there, and we won't necessarily rush to get there because just wanted to show you some of the gorgeousness of New York. But just back to the swinging, just briefly. So swinging is quite straightforward. R1 controls the web, as it were, and swing. R1 and L1 together do a web zip to a specific point, and if you want to tap the X button, you can do the traditional web zip, as in what we have in Spider-Man 2, for example. So Spider-Man will just pull himself forward towards an obstacle. Crucially though, in this game, if you hold R1, you wall run, you do parkour, you do additional little flips and tricks and spins and things.
Hello? Parker, where are you? We must run through the demonstration at least once before the grant committee arrives. Yes. Sorry, yes. Dealing with a personal issue. I'll be in soon, promise.
Almost left the mission area.
Quick to get to my real job.
And the guy on the phone, his boss, well, it's a bit of a spoiler. Shall I spoil it? No, I won't spoil it. I won't go and show him to you today. But his boss is quite exciting, and the way that his boss's story is told is quite exciting as well in this game. So wall running, parkour, it all adds up to a seamless Spider-Man, a joyful Spider-Man experience in a beautifully rendered New York City, which is also actually crammed with Easter eggs as well. This is a New York City that has Alias Investigations, Jessica Jones's private investigation company. This is a New York City that has the Daredevil in this universe. We don't actually get to meet him, but Matt Murdock's law firm, Josie's Bar, the Fogwell's Gym, where Matt's dad was a boxer. The Sanctum Sanctorum is in this New York City, and not only is it gorgeous to behold swinging through the city, it's also actually beautifully detailed on ground level. The range of activities that you get to see people doing, the fact that there's a squirrel there running around on the floor. Where has he gone? There he is. The fact that you get to see street performers, and every street has the character that it does in the real New York. Wall Street, Harlem, some of the more sort of project type areas, the financial district, Times Square is excellent. And there's also Avengers Tower as well in this New York. This is a New York that's aware of the Disney MCU. Now, the fighting as Spider-Man is also extremely satisfying in this game. It's again taking a little bit from the Arkham Asylum, Arkham City brand of games, but actually those games built on, for example, Spider-Man 2, having a Spidey sense and block, one button to stop someone attacking you. The range of web attacks that you can get as upgrades in Spider-Man is very satisfying. But right from the beginning, you feel capable. So let's say web strike. So hit that guy. Eventually, you get to the point where you can. So there you go. So sorry. The red circle button is react to Spidey sense, like that. Strike is square button, and jump is X button, with the triangle button being the web strike. So you can sort of pull yourself towards someone while flying through the air on your webbing. It's a wonderful, elegant combat system that's very easy to get the hang of. Difficult, as they say, to master, but when you are, as it were, on fire with this system, you feel amazing. It feels very, very satisfying. So let's web up the enemies. There we go. Eventually, you can unlock powers. For example, if you perform a perfect dodge, you can and automatically web up someone's eyes. So if someone's trying to shoot you, you dodge their bullets and you just and put web in their face. It's brilliant.
Be there soon. Can't wait to see Willie's face when you slap the cuffs on.
This game. So this whole opening sequence is 8 years after Spider-Man really set out on his career. He's a college Spider-Man. He's not in high school anymore. And this is the day that we bring down Fisk, or that after a whole campaign and working with the police, Spider-Man is able to finally bring down the Kingpin. That leaves a power vacuum in the city, and a power vacuum that some people rush to fill, and one person in particular, one bad guy who is a very interesting bad guy with a connection to Aunt May, shall we say, and therefore an extra element of concern in terms of who he might hurt. Now, of course, that's not unusual for Spider-Man stories. Aunt May, MJ, Gwen Stacy, others, they often get into trouble. But the story actually in this game is not cliched in that sense. It's actually quite carefully constructed. And eventually you get to a point, no spoilers, but you get to a point in this game world where everything changes, shall we say. Now, that has been experimented with in previous Spider-Man games. I think Web of Shadows, for example, with a morality system. So the city would actually literally respond to what the civilians thought of Spider-Man by deploying maybe armed response teams, having a slightly grimmer demeanour, depending on how many crimes Spider-Man was actually solving. In this version of Spider-Man, there is an element of that. It does matter whether or not you're actually solving crimes. And incidentally, the range of activities that you can engage in terms of, say, stopping carjacking, retrieving someone who's been kidnapped, finding a missing individual, so on and so forth. It's quite a good range of activities. But you're not actually punished if you don't do them. What happens is J. Jonah Jameson, who is running a sort of an InfoWars style radio show, will start to comment on how crap you've been. Or he'll start taking calls from people who saw that Spider-Man was in the vicinity. Spider-Man was in the vicinity, but just swung on past when he got the notification of the crime. So you're much more subtly punished in terms of, it's a story-based punishment as opposed to having this sort of weird world or weird impediments thrust upon you. That said, though, there is definitely at one point a sort of hinted New York alters in its appearance, and that is done in a very satisfying story way. And when it happens, you feel as though you're ready for it. You feel as though you are a bit of a Spider-Man veteran at that point, and you are part of an emerging situation, shall we say. But again, I don't want to spoil that. If you get a chance to play this game, you absolutely bloody well should, because it's a wonderful game, it's a gorgeous experience, and if you're a Spider-Man fan, especially a Spider-Man fan who... Ooh, piece of heal, there we go. There we go, brilliant. This game just rewards all of that. And again, it takes other cues from for example, the Arkham series, in terms of the sensation that what you're doing actually matters. That you are part of a broader world, a world which does have a broader world that does have other characters, and Jim Gordon, or for example Yuri in this game, as your police assistant. They are out there doing things, but if you don't do what you need to do, the stakes are high, and the impact is strong. So you always feel motivated to move forwards with the story. It's not as though, put it this way, I haven't come across anything that's been a chore yet. And this opening sequence in the Fisk Tower is just magnificent.
Our choppers are taking fire.
Come on.
Looks like Fisk has armed men on every floor. He's desperate.
So again, reminiscent of the Arkham games, Batman crawling through the air vents,
Not yet.
for example.
They're wiping all their data servers. We need that evidence if we want to put him away for good. Okay, server room it is.
Off to the server room.
from Meg. Better answer. Hi, Aunt May. What is all that noise? Watching a superhero movie. What's up? I just wanted to make sure we're still on for dinner tomorrow night. Totally. Listen, I gotta go. Okay. Love you. Love you too. That's my key.
There we go. So, I also quite like the way that, again, avoiding the sort of the simple morality structure of certain previous Spider-Man games, Fisk and the reality of having Fisk in New York is much closer to the Fisk that we see, for example, in the Netflix TV series. He is, oddly enough, a man of certain principles. He is also a man who is arguably creating a sort of stability, which means that when he's gone, then stuff will hit the fan. Come on, we're meant to finish off. Where's he gone? Is he down here? It's the only bad thing about a tutorial, there we go, is that you need to do exactly what it says, otherwise it doesn't proceed. There we go. Now, Spider-Man, in terms of his fighting style, obviously, you know, as with Batman, he's trying to, quote-unquote, not kill anyone, but you do find yourself kicking people off very, very tall structures with alarming frequency. But, you know, it's the game. I'm sure in the comics, Spider-Man would try to avoid just kicking someone off a skyscraper. There we go. Scan for nearby.
There we go.
Excellent.
It's like my own private ventrance.
Another great thing is that
Maybe a dirty criminal, but he has remarkably clean air vents.
is that Spider-Man's character, Peter Parker's character, in terms of quipping about his surroundings, is perfect for this sort of gameplay experience, because it means that you're getting ongoing game commentary, which was provided often, for example, in the Arkham games by Batman talking to, say, Oracle, or to, you know, Robin or whoever, or just sort of musing out loud, you know, I need to stop Joker, this kind of thing. Whereas it feels quite natural in there we go, quite natural in Spider-Man for him to be extending his sense of humour, which also does get him in trouble in the story as well, actually, because he deals with tension with bad jokes. It feels quite appropriate for him to be doing all this malarkey. Oh, there we go. While yabbering on. Oh, 5 seconds.
Let's see just how good their security is.
Now this brings us to another aspect of gameplay, and that is, oh, there he is.
Says the guy frantically erasing his search history.
After all these years, you're still just an ignorant child.
True, but that's part of my charm, isn't it?
I love that they've got the lenses that change size and shape as well in this game. Taking a cue from Spider-Man Homecoming. There we go. Come on.
Look around you. I did this. Have you ever done that?
You can juggle bad guys, just as in Spider-Man 2, punching them up into the air and then punching them while they're helpless. But yeah, so there's an aspect of gameplay that's also part of this game that involves technical puzzles. So it plays on Spider-Man, or well, sorry, Peter Parker's gadget genius by giving you simple sort of electric circuits pathways to solve and this kind of thing. That's quite a satisfying aspect of the gameplay. And there's also another element of the game that I know some people are complaining about.
An explosion just... I saw it. This could have the whole place wired. Sitting in a bomb unit. I'll make sure no one gets in their way.
Ah, you can also eventually actually grab people's weapons with web and swing like a handgun around and smack them in the face with it. That's quite satisfying. Yeah, another aspect of gameplay that some people are complaining about is that there are times in the game when you play as other characters. So, for example, this isn't a spoiler. I mean, you know she's going to turn up at some point, Mary Jane, and you play with her from her perspective in certain circumstances, which are often quite stealth orientated and this kind of thing. And I actually find that kind of satisfying. It adds to the cinematic story. There's also another character who turns up, who's quite satisfying to play with as well, since we know what ends up happening to that character in the Marvel Universe.
Hey guys, I guess bombs are part of Willie's getaway plan.
Spider-Man's rapport with the police is brilliant. I love that, again, it's been 8 years and these people are accustomed to working with him.
Everyone clear out! Evacuate the building!
Rats. There we go.
I'll find them. I'll lift it. When you're free, get out fast. If you can walk, help the injured. Got it?
Come on, Spider-Man. Oh. As Tom Holland says, come on, Spider-Man. Come on, Spider-Man. All in all, this game hasn't remotely disappointed me. In fact, it's exceeded expectations. And this was the game that finally got me
How we doing, Captain?
to get a PlayStation.
Could be better. Our choppers took a beating. We just had to ground our last one. If Fish called in a chopper, we had no one to stop it from landing.
There we go.
And no one to chase him if he flies away.
Why do I get the feeling that's what he was planning all along?
Because he probably was.
This finally got me to get a PlayStation. This and the promise of the Resident Evil 2 remake meant that I was hinting quite heavily with people that I would love a PlayStation at some point. And it just so happens that this weekend people got me a PlayStation with Spider-Man on it. So this is my first, first of the 8th generation, high performance consoles. Of course, I do have a second-hand Switch that I bought a couple of months ago. But for many people, they don't really count. I know certainly for Xbox and PlayStation fans, they don't really count. And yes, I've been holding off. I thought games like Assassin's Creed would be the one to bring me over to the cause of the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One, or even Arkham Knight, actually. Arkham Knight wasn't enough to do it. But Spider-Man finally put a PlayStation controller in my hand.
Hey, how the bomb squad guys get through this?
Okay.
Settle down. I've got enough for everybody.
There we go. It's just a thing of beauty. And so, of course, Monday morning, I had to share this. And also have to acknowledge just that I fully understand how desperately lucky I am to have such good friends.
You guys alright?
We were just about to call for backup.
Think I'm it?
Lead the way. We'll be right behind you. Heads up, boss.
Oh. So Insomniac, the developers of this game, have done a brilliant job. It was clear that Activision, who have been publishing at the very least the Spider-Man games for a good long while. Activision were just running out of ideas, or maybe they wanted to work on other stuff. You know, they've been doing Spider-Man for so long, since the original movie game, at least. So that was the first one that I played, anyway. Spider-Man 2, which for many people, myself included, was their best, their greatest so far. I'm so glad that Marvel, Sony, and Insomniac saw their way to getting hold of this license and doing it justice.
Some of your guys were on Fisk's payroll. Good news is, they were Willie's last line of defense. I'm right outside his office.
Take him down, now.
With pleasure.
Here we go. I love that
Writing
Kingpin
your memoirs?
looks
Don't forget the hyphen between spider and man.
Get the chopper ready.
halfway, between like a Victorian wrestler, like a real human being, and his 90s cartoon counterpart.
But your foolishness ends now.
Foolishness ends now.
You do know I can still see you, right?
Years of this insolence.
Oh. So R1, no, sorry, R1,
You shouldn't have.
yes, the smaller one. So R2 and L2 do swinging, sorry, and web zipping. R1 lets you web up items, such as, for example, these turrets. And then R1 and R2 together, no, R1 and L1 together, sorry, allow you to grab and swing them at this glass.
What's wrong, Willie? You seem angry.
I will destroy you!
Your best shot.
Woo!
You're out of your
Give me an opening.
Now, if you get too close to Fisk, he will hurt me a lot. Which again is very appropriate for Fisk. Fisk may look like a blob, but he's a super strong... I'm not sure, is he actually a mutant in the Marvel Universe? I'm not sure in the comics. But he's very similar to a mutant. You know, he's almost inhumanly strong and powerful. Off. Oh, we're smashing up his stuff. Heal a bit. There we go. So yes, you can press down on the D-pad to heal, and actually up on the D-pad gets out Spider-Man's camera, although you can't do it at the moment in the in this prologue. There we go. Oh! Through the wall. Oh! Now the stuff gets a bit more,
everything that's wrong with this.
sunny. What is he reminds me of someone.
You know what to do.
Can't remember who he reminds me of. Oh. Okay, right. This is going to keep on charging me, so... Just got to keep on web zipping around. Got to get rid of these guys. Where is he? There he is, okay. Oh, go away, guys. Seriously. I'm making very good use of my spider sense, am I? Yes! Yes! Oh! Damn it, I've got 1 point left. Oh! Okay, jump and dodge. Can't let these normal guys get a hit on Spidey. Need to make better use of my spider sense. Actually dodge the hits. Can't let Fisk get me. It is quite scarily powerful. Oh. Ah, there we go. Oh, he got me, but never mind. That was worth it. Dodge that. There we go. Take that, Fisk. There we go. Okay, and dodge, dodge. Press down to heal a little bit. Dodge. Dodge. Ah. Oh. Oh. Okay, and oh. Okay. Web him up, web him up, web him up. There we go. And don't let him hit me. Excellent. That's definitely doing better. Yeah. So it's the use of all of the different, for example, webbing powers in combat, in traversing the city. It's the fluidity of, I suppose, how intuitive this stuff starts to feel over time. You start to feel as though you are making real choices about where Spider-Man goes, how he behaves, what he does precisely to the people who he's fighting. There we go. And oh, it's okay. This is meant to happen, folks. Oh, circle, circle. Ah. L2, R2. Oh. Triangle. Square, 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 square. Yes. And we're back in the lobby.
So, should we kiss now?
And a solid Spider-Man movie reference. Shall we kiss now? I like it. So the first time I played that on Saturday afternoon, I just had a grin from ear to ear, and I'm still grinning now on my second playthrough. This game is for Spider-Man.
Finally off to Rikers, huh? You know, I think you've got more enemies in there than I do.
If you think this will be more than a minor inconvenience...
Well, gotta go. Hey, good luck, Willie. I have a feeling you're gonna need it.
Idiot! I'm the one who kept order in this city! 1 month! In 1 month you wish you had me back!
That's kind of true. It's kind of true. But anyway, this game is for Spider-Man what the Arkham games were for Batman. An in-depth character study, a real exploration of the character's abilities, and crucially that much used phrase, getting to feel like the character who you're playing as. If we press the touchpad, press the touchpad, I can buy some extra skills or start to use those up. So let's see, I'll buy Innovator, Web Throw. Okay, cool. That was the only skill we could use, and then the moves list. Quite helpful. Anyway, let's do a little bit more swinging, shall we? Just a bit more. Just a bit more, just one more. There we go. And it's options like that, it's the ability to parkour up the building, web zip to the top of that, press X to jump off with your hands, keep on swinging. Just makes
enthusiasm, but sometimes it gets him into trouble. Better get there before he hurts himself.
Makes for a super enjoyable Spider-Man game. Now, what we're not going to do is go to Peter's workplace. We're not going to advance the story, and we're not going to see the doc that Peter's working with. Well, I'm sure you can probably guess. It's going to be, what, Doc Connors or Doc Ock or someone like that. Who knows? Well, I know. But also, crucially, I know that I love this game. And also, I love the fact that actually it's giving me another appreciation for a proper, good, solid open world building, which is in a limited space as well. You know, games like, I suppose, you know, Skyrim is getting a bit old now, but Skyrim's kind of set an expectation for a really big open world game. Breath of the Wild's quite good. Witcher 3, The Hunt, quite enjoyable. Huge open worlds with lots of detail. This is a concentrated world, again a bit like the Arkham games, with huge amounts of detail and, oh, a glitch. A man in the road, up to his thighs in tarmac. It's just excellent. That's all I can say. It's just excellent. I think I've run out of things to say about the game without spoiling it. So I'm just gonna start pushing through people. It's really good. It's just brilliant. I love it, and I just want to play more on the level that I'm actually up to in my actual playthrough. Right now, this video is just getting in the way of me advancing my actual play of this game. But I simply had to share it. Isn't it just magnificent? And crucially, on the PlayStation 4, it is a beautiful, or a beautifully powerful machine. I'm very impressed so far with what this machine can do. And along with Spider-Man, I was also given a copy of Resident Evil 7. How exciting. Finally I'll be able to actually play Resident Evil 7. That means I will have played all of the Resident Evil games before the Resident Evil 2 remake comes out on this console. I'm actually kind of tired now. I was so excited at the beginning. I think I'm a little bit pooped from my excitement. So okay, that's enough aimless swinging around. Shall we quickly just take a look at the console? So this is basically how I've set up my PlayStation. Nice purple background, and my username is Malaga. So feel free to add me on the PSN if you want to. Go ahead. And yeah, there you go. Resident Evil 7. I haven't yet started playing it, but I will. Maybe today. Who knows? But right now, Spider-Man is just filling my brain with joy and excitement, and crucially, this amazing birthday present. I just couldn't be a luckier boy, could I? I'm just a very lucky boy. I haven't got everything in the world that I want, but I'm a very lucky boy, and I know that. Thank you guys for watching. As ever, until next time, do take care. Bye bye.